You are listening to the Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome to the Vocal Technologist. We're going to get right into some pretty critical information security developments today. Our goal here is really to sift through everything happening out there and focus on what you actually need to know about the evolving threats in our digital lives. And we're kicking off with something kind of surprising, how just one tiny character can open the door to a major security headache. Let's unpack that. Okay, so first up is this really clever phishing campaign hitting Booking.com users. What they're doing is using a Japanese hiragana character, and it makes an N sound.
Right.
But the kicker is, in a lot of the fonts we see every day, it looks almost exactly like the regular Latin letter N.
Visually identical at a quick glance.
Exactly. So you get a URL that looks like Booking.com, but it's not. It's got the sneaky character swapped in.
Which makes it incredibly difficult to spot visually.
Yeah, you think you're clicking on the real deal, maybe checking a reservation.
And boom, you're off to a site designed purely to steal your login details.
It really shows how attackers understand, like, typography, but also just basic human perception, you know?
Absolutely. It exploits our tendency to, skim. We see a familiar pattern in a URL, our brain says, okay, looks good, and we don't inspect every single letter. It's a perfect example of preying on cognitive biases. Even with great tech security, that human element, that quick glance, can be the weak link.
Makes you really paranoid about clicking anything.
Well, it definitely reinforces the need to be super careful verifying URLs, especially if you weren't expecting the link. Hover over it. Type it in manually if you have to.
That's a great point about human vulnerability. Okay, so moving from something you might spot if you look close enough to something, well, much stealthier. Let's talk about this fileless V-shell attack. Fileless, that sounds almost like digital ghost.
It kind of is. It's incredibly cunning because the malware avoids writing a typical executable file to your disk, which is what most antivirus software is looking for.
So how does it even run then?
All right, so get this. Attackers embed commands encoded in base64 so they just look like jumbled text directly into the file name of a RAR archive file.
Into the file name itself, not inside the file.
Exactly. Think of it like invisible ink instructions written on a package label, not the contents. Then, if a system performs certain actions, like listing directory contents, using, say, an unsafe command pattern like evil echo $5.
Which might happen in some scripts or automated tasks.
Precisely. Those embedded commands in the file name get executed. They then download other components, fetch the main V-shell backdoor payload, which is itself encrypted.
Encrypted too, wow.
Yep, XOR encrypted. And then crucially, it decrypts and runs entirely in memory. It never touches the disk in its decrypted malicious form. It even disguises itself as a legitimate kernel process, like Coker 0.2, something you'd normally ignore in your process list.
So traditional antivirus scanning the disk misses it.
Completely. And because it's running disguised in memory, it bypasses a lot of detection methods. It's really sophisticated evasion.
Okay, so if attackers are getting that good at hiding, basically making malware invisible, what about our big modern defenses? You know, AI, cloud platforms, stuff that's supposed to be smarter. Are they holding up?
Well, that's the worrying part. Even these advanced systems aren't foolproof. There was a finding recently about Google's Gemini AI tools. Turns out they can be tricked by hidden prompts. And not hidden in code, but embedded within images.
Within images? How does that even work?
Attackers exploit image scaling, how images are resized. They can embed tiny strings of text that become instructions when the image is processed by the AI. This could potentially cause the AI to leak data it shouldn't, or, just behave unexpectedly. Imagine an image making your AI assistant spill secrets.
That's unsettling.
And it's not just AI. Look at cloud security tools. AWS Trusted Advisor, for instance, its whole job is to check your cloud setup for security gaps. But researchers found you could trick it. You could make a report that your S3 storage buckets, where everyone stores data in the cloud, are secure, even when they're not, simply by denying the Trusted Advisor service permission to run certain security checks. It fails the check, assumes everything's okay, or at least doesn't flag a problem it couldn't check.
So the tool designed to find problems can be blinded.
Effectively, yes.
Okay.
It gives you this false sense of security. It really makes you question, can we always blindly trust the tools meant to protect us?
Wow. Okay, so from a single lookalike character in a URL to malware that runs like a ghost, and now tricking AI with images and fooling cloud security checkers, the level of sophistication here is just It's really something. It's a constant game of cat and mouse.
It absolutely is. The landscape changes so fast. Attack methods get refined. New vulnerabilities pop up in unexpected places. It means we constantly have to be learning, adapting, and honestly maintaining a healthy skepticism. Question assumptions, verify things yourself. Critical thinking is key.
Definitely. And, while we talk about how cunning the attacks are getting, it's worth remembering there are amazing advancements on the defensive side, too. So maybe here's a thought to leave you with. What happens when truly unbreakable encryption becomes widespread? Like, there's this new development using imperfect quantum dot light sources. Sounds technical, I know, but they apparently outperform standard lasers for quantum key distribution, work at room temperature.
Right, pushing towards practical, truly secure communication.
Exactly. So if that kind of thing becomes commonplace, what does that future look like for our data security, for privacy, for everything? Something to think about.
Spoken Tech for your ears.